Yeah, and you lose focus and on what the holiday is actually about. Like you don't even get to celebrate the holidays anymore. You're trying to celebrate the idea of the holidays almost, and trying when you're trying to make all these memories, you're like, does this really even matter to me or my kids? Like it's come down to it. My kids, the stuff that they remember, honestly, the stuff they ask for us to do every year is the little stuff.
They say when a baby is born, so is a mother. But while you are there to help your baby grow into the person he or she is meant to be, who is there to help you? Many women feel lost and alone when they become mothers, wondering, who am I now? Sometimes it feels like the transformation from woman to mother is as radical as a caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly. Did you know that inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar literally turns into goop before it rearranges itself into a butterfly? This podcast is about the goop, what soul transformation looks like as you transition from being a woman to a mom. Your baby's growth matters, but yours does too. You're not alone. I'm your host, Brittany Ming. Welcome to the Motherhood Metamorphosis.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Motherhood Metamorphosis. I'm your host, Brittany Ming, and today we're talking to Sara Springer. Sara is an aspiring writer, mental health advocate, and mom to five. She is co-founder to Love Will Foundation, a grassroots nonprofit organization that offers financial assistance for counseling services in St. Louis, Missouri. During the day, she works as a nurse practitioner, and in her spare time, she blogs under the name Rebel Housewife. So welcome back, Sara. We had you on in season 1, and I love talking to you as a fellow mom of 5, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Hey, girl, save. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we are talking about holidays and really just keeping your mental sanity around the holidays and what it means to be a mom, because I feel like holiday stuff is like you got your mom job, you got your like actual paying job, and then the holidays is like another job. Like it's so busy and it's so intense. And honestly, a lot of times it's not that fun, even though we're like, let's be fun. And
Yes,
it's just like
yes.
not.
Yeah. Plus, it's expensive. It's gotten a little out of control with how people have to be extra
Yes.
on making the memories, you
Yes.
know? So all the
Yeah,
day job money you bring in at holiday season is.
I know. Well, I think social media plays a lot with that because we see everybody's cute pictures online and we think, oh, that's adorable, or I want to have those memories, or
Yep.
these are the things that I did as a kid. So we have all of the social media pressure, all of the childhood pressure, and then like you're including your in laws and then your parents and then like your actual family traditions. And it just can feel like it's crazy making.
Yeah, and you lose focus and on what the holiday is actually about. Like you don't even get to celebrate the holidays anymore. You're trying to celebrate the idea of the holidays almost, and trying when you're trying to make all these memories, you're like, does this really even matter to me or my kids? Like it's come down to it. My kids, the stuff that they remember, honestly, the stuff they ask for us to do every year is the little stuff. Like one thing that we do like on Thanksgiving is I like to make a Thanksgiving breakfast. It's just like I just like to make pumpkin muffins, and that's basically it. Sausage maybe and some or like a little sausage casserole or something like that. And like other than that, I used to try to go big on that and then do like something special for like our lunch, and then we have the Thanksgiving dinner, and then you have like the next day celebrations because you're getting ready for Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. And like it's just like spirals into this weekend where you're just like exhausted and nobody's eating anything because nobody's hungry. But you just keep doing all the things. And my kids, what they want, the only things that they really want to do like on Thanksgiving is make the pumpkin muffins, and the only thing they want to do the day after is put up the Christmas tree. And like when we really like looked at it and narrowed it down to like what mattered to them and to me and what was important and what we actually enjoyed doing from what we were trying to do, it's just like the things that your kids are going to remember are not all the elaborate things that you do. It's just like the consistent tradition that you decide to make that you enjoy. And really, like your kids enjoy what you enjoy. So if
Right.
you're not having fun with what you're trying to do during the holidays, they're not going to enjoy it. Everybody's just going to be stressed. Like we tried to do a Santa at Bass Pro Shop one year. it was right after my fifth was born. And I was just like, you got to go sit on Santa's lap. We just have to this year. I had to get a family picture of all five of everybody on Santa's lap and getting them dressed and out of the house. I just remember thinking, this is the worst experience of my life. Like when I look at that picture that we did end up getting the picture, but I look at it and just like, it doesn't bring like, it doesn't spark joy. It doesn't spark a memory. It just sparks like I remember my girls screaming because I had to brush their hair, trying to fight with them to wear like a Christmas themed shirt or trying to get them all in their little holiday stuff, trying to get everybody in the car, trying to get everybody inside Bass Pro, like standing in line. Like it just was, I'm just like, for what? And did they even, we haven't sat on Santa's lap since and nobody cares.
You're like, never again. It was
Never again. It was. I mean, I was just like, this is not an experience that anyone has enjoyed. And like, it felt like it should be a big deal because I did it as a kid and everything. But my kids don't even ask. I mean, there's a whole thing with that as they're getting older and everything with Santa. But like, nope, my little ones don't even ask to sit on Santa's lap anymore. They don't ask for like, they just, they don't care. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So
I like how you brought up that you're like, this is what I did as a kid. Because sometimes I think, oh, I want to recreate the things that were magical or special to me as a kid. But those things are not magical or special necessarily to my kids. And sometimes you work so hard to do the thing. And then you're like, well, that sucked. And like, I'm not happy. I'm not getting the warm fuzzy. They certainly aren't getting this happy, rosy memory. And then everybody just ends up being disappointed. And you're like, Christmas is the worst, or like whatever you're trying to do, because you just have this overwhelming feeling of disappointment because the expectation did not meet reality.
it never does. It never does. I try to stick with the stuff where, like, even when we like do like the Thanksgiving breakfast, every year in my head, I'm like, we're gonna wake up, we're gonna like, as a family, we're gonna make the muffins, we're gonna like, smell the muffins while they're cooking, we're gonna eat them, we're gonna enjoy them, all this stuff. And every time it's us sitting at our middle counter and every child fighting about who gets to put in the next ingredient and who gets to stir and who, and I'm just like, just let me do it so it can just get done so we can just eat these big things, and like, even though it can be stressful, it's like we do still somehow enjoy it. I don't know. We still like the pumpkin muffins enough to do them again. But every year, the expectation and the reality never meet. So I've come to accept that it's going to be, you kind of have to lower your expectations.
Meet the chaos that is real life. Yeah.
The chaos that is like, expect that your kids are going to fight and like come up with like a plan to, now we like pre-assign, like you get to do the pumpkin, you get to stir 20 times, you get to put in the eggs, you get to, like everybody has a thing that they do so that we just like try to limit the chaos. But
well, when you have 5 kids, you have to dole it out because, somebody doesn't get to crack an egg. Like that's the end of the world.
Oh my gosh, it is. Yes, seriously. And the other kid could have cracked it better without getting shells in there.
Yes.
The competition over everything.
They squeeze it and then it's like, no.
Oh, the dang eggs. Yeah, for sure.
So do you guys actually do Thanksgiving dinner or do you just do the pumpkin muffins and that's what works for you?
No, we actually do end up doing a Thanksgiving dinner. But I don't cook it.
Okay.
My in-laws come over and like, I think I do like, what do I do every year? The corn, what's it called? Stuffing, and then the sweet potato casserole. Those are usually the 2 things I'm in charge of. And then my in-laws end up doing everything else, and we just eat dinner, and after the muffins we just decide not to, we just snack, graze, whatever we want to do throughout the day, and then they come over with food and we eat and we talk and look at the Christmas ads and like that kind of thing. But we keep it as minimal as we can. Like I don't try to wake up early on Thanksgiving to do anything. Like I tried to be like early riser and have everything ready for everybody before they'd wake up, and it took me a while to kind of find like my rhythm with it and what I enjoyed about doing the breakfast type thing. But we just like sleep in, we wake up when we want to wake up, we cook when we want to cook, we eat when we want to eat, and then we have dinner with our in-laws and stuff. So just try to keep it as minimal.
Yeah, doing what works for you. So like this last year, doing what works for me. We have not spent Thanksgiving with family because we're a military family, so we move a lot and we were overseas the last few years. And honestly, like I have cooked a full Thanksgiving dinner in my marriage, like 10 to 12 times, like everything, like the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing. I don't usually make, I get a can of cranberry sauce because that's the best. You know, like, but
Yes.
I am the cook in my family and I cook everything. And it's so exhausting. By the end of the day, I'm like snapping at people. Yeah, the food is good, but like, do the kids like it? No, they don't. Like, they
Yeah.
wouldn't eat like a roll. You got to force somebody to eat a bite of turkey. And then you're like, what was the point? And so this last Thanksgiving, I was like, I don't want to hear complaining. I don't want to cook all day. And I actually looked into getting like a catered Thanksgiving dinner because we did that when we lived in England,
Ah,
but I couldn't find anything. So I was like, well, that stinks. I really just want somebody to cook for me and I want to eat Thanksgiving food. So I couldn't find anything. Then I'm like, you know what? We don't have to eat Thanksgiving food. What if we just ate food that made everybody happy? Because that is like the gold star in my family that we can never reach is that there's food that makes everybody happy. Somebody is always
yes.
unhappy every day. So I'm like, what would make me really thankful at Thanksgiving is that if everybody ate food. So I'm like, okay, what can we do? And so we did like appetizer day and we got like mozzarella sticks. This is food like I never buy. It's like special.
Yes.
And we did like this special crack dip that's like sage sausage and rotel and cream cheese that my kids asked for. So we had chips and we had that dip and we had like our charcuterie board, which was special because I had never made one and the kids thought that was cool. And so like we just had this food all day long and I just like cooked eventually like along and along. I'm like, okay, let's put in jalapeno poppers. Okay, anybody who wants to eat jalapeno poppers can eat them. And so like that was my day. And I just like relaxed and I cooked frozen food because I normally like cook everything from scratch, like every single meal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want a day to relax. I don't want to be
Yes.
frantic. I do not want to be cooking all day long food that nobody wants to eat. And so I'm like,
Yes.
I'm going to do what makes me happy on Thanksgiving. And it doesn't have to be
Yes.
traditional. And we just
Oh my
watched
gosh.
TV. We watched TV all day and ate food.
Ah,
And that was great.
yes.
We actually, I
No,
have,
they're gonna.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have good memories of that day. I don't have a
Yes.
like that. Sure, we did the things, but now I'm like a grumpy mess and I don't want to see anybody and I don't want to eat the whole casserole dish of stuffing that nobody else wanted to eat.
Exactly. You better bet they're gonna ask to do that again this year too.
Yeah.
That's amazing for
Yeah. So
sure.
I'm okay with that. And was it like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's really hard to be like, I'm going to do something different because you think the tradition is so important to uphold. But really, your mental health and happiness is more important than the tradition.
For sure. And finding a tradition that works for you, because it's not the tradition of like the holiday, really. Like, who says Thanksgiving has to be turkey and all that stuff? You know, the tradition is what you want it to be. Like, we do that kind of thing every year for New Year's, because I hate New Year's with a passion. Like, I don't enjoy going out. I don't enjoy the idea of a new year, a new you. Like, I don't like any, like, I'm just like anti everything. And every year, what we do is just like frozen appetizers. My kids get a couple little tootie horn things. We like sing and dance. My kids had like a little dance party this past year, and then we go to bed. Nobody stays up till midnight. Like, we
Oh,
just don't
we do
try.
not stay up till midnight either. And I am like, I
Yeah.
am done with you at 8. Like every night,
Yes.
I'm just like, my patience has run out and you will go to bed. We will say Happy New Year in the morning. We have
Yes.
never let them stay, or I think my teenagers maybe stayed up now till midnight, but like, I'm not staying up. I'm like, you can ring in the new year by yourself in the basement, but like, I'm
Yes.
done. Peace out. And I know other
Same.
families, they enjoy like having their kids stay up and like drinking sparkling grape juice or whatever you want to do. But I'm like, that sounds awful. Like, that is
I
not for
know.
me.
I know. We've tried the sparkling grape juice, and I think I tried for like 3 or 4 years to get them to drink sparkling grape juice because I was like, this is a thing we have to do on New Year's. And I threw the whole bottle away. I pour a glass, they say this is disgusting, and then the whole thing gets thrown away. And I'm like, really? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep insisting? Nobody, like you said, nobody enjoys it, nobody likes it. So that's what we do on our New Year's is we just get something everybody likes and just a big old spread of food. And we watch movies. That's my thing. Just
Mhm.
veg out. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
finding the traditions that work for you.
Yes, I think it's so important to be like, what works for me? And then also, what does not work for me?
Yes.
Because I think sometimes you can try things like sitting on Santa's lap and you're like, okay, that did not work for me. I'm not going to do that again. Like, do not do things that make you crazy. Like,
Yeah.
just say no to that. And if it's like makes your anxiety rise and it makes you crazy, just be like, no, I'm going to protect my peace. And I think that
Yes.
includes like if you have to do Christmas at like four different relatives' houses, like you don't have to do that. Like you
Yeah.
can say, we will have Christmas at our house. That is what we're going to do this year. If it makes you crazy to go to like aunt's house and then grandma's house and then mom's house and then dad's house, like that doesn't, you do not have to do that. Like you can say
Right.
no and protect your peace. And if
Yeah.
people want to see you, they can come on December 26th, or like you can spread it out or whatever it may be that like makes you happy. That is what you can do. And that
Yes.
is okay.
Yes. Yes. Give yourself permission to do the things that like spark joy for you and for your family and that work out, because I think a lot of us too get caught up in like, because there's not that many weeks, I feel like, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, but there's so much going on, and then you have the breakfast with Santas, and then you have like sitting on Santa's laps, and then the Christmas shopping on top of it, and then people want to bake cookies or have cookie exchanges, and like all these things that you feel like you have to
Elf on the
participate
shelf.
in. Elf on the shelf. That freaking elf on the shelf. Oh, and yeah, it's turned into a hide and seek elf for us, and sometimes he forgets to hide.
Sometimes you hide him real well.
Yeah, like somebody really must have like gotten out of bed in the middle of the night or done something that the elf had to stay put, kind of thing. Yeah, I know. It's just so much, and not just like elf on this. I mean, it's just like people do. Have you seen the elaborate things they do with the elf and stuff?
Yes, I actually have never done
Like
an elf because that was always like the idea did not even work for me. It's not like I even tried it. It was like that does not work for me.
yeah,
So
like you knew.
yeah, I
You
knew.
knew.
In my heart, I knew.
Yes, yes, yes. Seriously, you just try to keep up with all the things going on, and then you forget the spirit of the season and what it's really about. You don't enjoy it, and so
Yeah.
just like, yeah, toning it down and giving. I think we had to try a few Christmases where we did do all the things, and then it was just like, I hate this holiday season. Like, it's not bringing me anything, and I don't think my kids are learning what it's about, and I think we're just getting lost in trying to do things that we're not actually taking time to slow down and be with each other and appreciate this what the season's really about and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it takes a while, I think, to troubleshoot.
Yeah. I think also for young moms, if you're just starting out, you think, I want my kids to have this magical holiday. And if I don't do these things, they're going to have like bad memories of Christmas or I'm not a good mom. I think there's just like so much pressure to make Christmas magical, like a movie or something. I think we
Yes.
get really a lot of social pressure from like movies or like
Yes.
social media. I mean, we've already mentioned that
Yes.
to just be and do. And also, I think sometimes that younger moms can jump the gun and say like, "Oh, I we want to do Elf on the Shelf when your child is like 18 months." And
Right.
Elf on the Shelf feels like something fun for you, like that seems fun, but your kid's not quite into it yet. So then you feel
Yes.
like, oh, that was disappointing because they're not quite old enough. So sometimes you have to wait
Yeah.
till they're like 5. And that can
Yeah.
feel like a really long time if you want to do the fun things, or you're like, we're going to decorate cookies, but your kid is 2, and it just
Yeah.
ends up being like the hugest mess ever. And you're like, this was not good. But then
Yeah.
when they're 6 or 7, like then it's fun, but you have to wait the 7 years. So sometimes I think there's some patience involved where you're like, this, I really want to do this, but I have to wait because otherwise I'm going to, hate my life for 2 hours when we tried this, or the
Yeah.
5 minutes where we tried this and it was
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, or just have realistic expectations too. Like if you are like impatient or you just really want to get the ball rolling with all the experiences and stuff, just knowing like meeting your kid where they're at, meeting you where you are, kind of thing, and knowing that like, okay, this isn't what are they actually capable of as a 2-year-old when I have this idea, like maybe they could put the sprinkles on the cookies, or like also modifying things to work for you and your family. But like I think they like when people put a lot of stuff on social media that like they did all these things with their kids and then they show the pictures afterwards and it just looks like it's been such a fun time and it was such an age appropriate activity, and then you go to do it and your expectations are up here, and then you're just like, wait a second, this did not work out the way that it looked like it was going to. Like, you just set ourselves up a little bit for disappointment. I think you just
Yeah.
have to know what our kids are capable of, like what we are capable of.
Right.
Because
And
even I
making
tried to
it,
do a bunch of ornaments.
yeah,
Sorry.
making it about like the memory and not about getting the perfect picture. So sometimes you can do the
Yes.
activity and you're like, oh, it was kind of fun, but we didn't get any picture. And I think that that is really, we may think that's silly, but like that can be an area of disappointment too. Because if you want to like record it or like show your life or like that's an important part of your life, even if you're like, okay, I didn't do it for the gram, but somehow you feel disappointed because you didn't get a picture and showing people that you are
Yeah.
a magical holiday mom. I think that can be
Yeah.
an area of disappointment too. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Especially if it's like the one thing you do. You're like, this is the one thing I do. With that, like I've gotten into the habit of wanting, when I take a picture, I just grab my phone and just take one of whatever the moment looks like. Like, I don't ask anybody to post for it. I don't ask anybody. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you guys want to look up and say cheese? And if they say yes, and sometimes I get a great picture and not. But then I just like, there's so many pictures I have where my kids are all looking at the camera and smiling, and I know that for a fact I was being rude behind the camera, and I was like, can you just take this one picture for me so that we can have, and now that I've started to really just like try to take more mental images, like, you know what, I want to document the feeling in this moment. So I'm going to take a picture exactly what we're doing right now. Those are my favorite pictures. Like, I think also redefining what we think is a good picture and what's gram worthy and Facebook worthy. And, sometimes I think too, there's been a lot of, I don't know that we value privacy as much as maybe people have in the past. And I think that sometimes the less that I share online, the more that I enjoy it in real life.
Mm,
And I'm just like, I think we should be able to have our traditions and our memories, and maybe nobody needs to know that that's what we're doing. And
mm,
we could just do it and enjoy it and appreciate it and have it be like almost sacred, just like something that we can share amongst ourselves too. So I think that also there's a pressure to share what we're doing.
mhm.
And like, so you don't have to, nobody has to know what
Yeah.
you've done or what you're doing.
No, that's really
Just
good.
what
That's
you're
really,
doing.
really good advice. I think it's also realizing that not every Christmas has to look like past Christmases because people go through different seasons. Like maybe you are pregnant at this Christmas, or you're really sick and you're throwing up all the time, or you're at the end of your pregnancy and you're going to be due any day and you're just like exhausted. Maybe you're caring for an elderly family member, or maybe you are going through like depression you know, or physical sickness or whatever it may be. And so you have to realize that like coming into a holiday, it may look different than past
Yeah.
holidays, and that's okay. I think that asking those questions beforehand, like what is going to work for me for this holiday and what is
Yes.
not going to work for me for this holiday. So something that
Yes.
I've done for my kids is we've never done up on the shelf, but I do this like countdown to Christmas, and I made
Mhm.
these little like envelopes, and so it's like a garland and we hang it and I put a little something in each one. And so sometimes it's just like a chocolate kiss, and sometimes it's like a fun activity like drink hot chocolate after school or watch a Christmas movie or things like that. So that's like 24 things I'm coming up with, and that's something we've
Yeah.
done for years. So it's kind of a lot of pressure sometimes to think of the things, especially when we move a lot, because I'm like, okay, now we're in a new area. There's no train to ride at the mall anymore, like that was something we did.
Yes.
But as
Yes.
I'm this Christmas, my husband is going to be deployed. So he's going to be gone. And this is
Oh,
the first time we've had a deployment over the holidays. And so I know that I'm going to be really tired this Christmas. Like, I'm just going to be very fatigued. And so I'm like, maybe we're not going to do Countdown to Christmas this year. Like, maybe that's something that we don't do. Or if they really want to do it, maybe my older boys will take over that and do that
yeah.
tradition for the little ones. But I'm like,
Yes.
how can I preserve my energy and not be like, I have to do the things because otherwise it's not a good Christmas if I know that my energy is going to be very low. So I don't
Yes.
know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be capable of. And I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like yet, but I'm already anticipating like what is going to work for me, what is not going to work for me, and then figuring out what that means for our family.
Yes. And then being okay with it. Because I think that's hard to accept too. It's really important to take stock of where you are just in life and in your mental health and like you said, like every year, and being like, what am I capable of this year? What can I conserve that's important to me? A tradition, like even if it was like you did a 7-day countdown instead of a 24-day countdown, like shortened it down or just whatever works for you, and then giving yourself permission that like that is okay. I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest part, is that we give ourselves so much grief that we just have to push through and persevere, when really we can just meet ourselves where we are and be okay with that. Give ourselves that grace.
Yeah. I
Take
think
it
there's
down.
so much pressure. I think there's like some type of social or even mental reward that we give ourselves for pushing through, to be like, well, I was exhausted and I was sick and I was doing all these things, but I pushed through it and I made this magical for my kids. And somehow that
Yes.
makes us a good mom. And I don't think that should be the narrative. I think that the narrative should be, I gave myself grace to say no, and I enjoyed my kids and the activities that we did, and I was able to smile and not like snap at them. Like those are the things that we should be saying. That makes me feel like I'm being a good mom in that moment, not that I did all the things and made it happen. So I
Yeah.
think that that narrative needs to shift, because there is so much pressure and so much guilt. And I think that we do it sometimes out of guilt and not like, this is what makes me happy as a person
Yes.
in my
Yes.
family.
Yes. And I think too, I've noticed like when I do things more from a place of like service. So like even when I'm like making food, when I'm doing it and I'm angry about it, it doesn't bring me that, and it just makes me resentful and angry. And like if we try to like push through and persevere, at some point, even if you made it through the holidays by doing that, you're going to have that crash where you come down and you can't maintain it anymore, and you're going to be resentful and angry. And like I think if we look at what we're doing as, no matter what it is, but we're doing it as out of service and out of love to our families and our kids, then we're going to have peace and joy, and they're going to have the same with that,
Mhm.
than if we're just like sitting there. Because when I'm cooking and I'm mad, nobody's happy. Nobody enjoys the dinner. Nobody enjoys the dinner time or the time together. But like when we do it and we're just like, you know what? This is like what I have to do tonight. Like I have to do a chicken nugget meal. Everybody's like, this is the best dinner we've ever had. It's just like, it really comes from, I think, a shift in perspective and giving yourself grace, and knowing that even if you push through and do the things and that feels maybe like productive and good to you, you're gonna hit that hump where you're just like, you can't maintain it and it's all gonna come crashing down. You have to really be aware of like your boundaries and your mental health and like what you really are capable of, and be okay with it. I feel like I can't stress the being okay with it enough, because I think we feel like if we don't live up to the standard that we have created in our own heads of what it means to be a good mom and a good Christmas participant and all of that, that we are just, like you said, failures. And like realizing that we can do less and get more out of it is very so important to like maintaining your mental health and your
Yeah.
sanity, your joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I wrote down some key concepts, and we talked about this before we met, but like realizing that you are a person in your family who deserves to feel peace and joy at the holidays. So
Yeah.
if like we are serving our families, but we're also like serving ourselves and saying, hey, like I matter in this scenario. So if like this activity ups my anxiety or makes me feel like my plate is too full, being okay with saying, wow, I'm going to choose not to do that, or I'm going to choose to do something that makes me really happy, even if nobody else gets it, or
Yep.
it makes us happy. Another key concept is saying like everything is an option and nothing is a requirement. And I think that can
Absolutely.
be so hard to swallow, because everything feels like if we don't do something, we're failing. And I think that's motherhood in general, but it especially feels, that pressure is especially hard at the holidays, where
Yes.
you have to do all the things, or family pressure is on you, or you put pressure on yourself, or your kids
Yes.
will be disappointed otherwise. And honestly, like we've had family meetings where we have decided like what we're going to do together. We say, okay, going into Christmas this year, going into Thanksgiving, like this is what we're going to do. But I've also said, like, this is what we're going to do. What do you guys think? But I had the final word, or my husband and I had the final word because I'm like, you know what? I'm the one putting this together. So I have to be the one to. I mean, my husband is not like holiday dad. Like, I am the one making the magic at the holidays. So,
Yeah. Yes. You know what I always think of too? The holidays are magical because they're the holidays. They're really not magical because of anything we do. It's really the feeling that you get. And I think just being able to honor that, like we just sit down. When I watch Christmas Vacation, that's like my Christmas movie. That to me that's all I need at Christmas. I just want to be able to watch Christmas Vacation one time, sit down, enjoy it. It's the feeling that it gives me of the holidays. My kids like to be able to watch The Grinch. That's their thing. So when we sit down and we watch that together, that's like all we need to make the holidays magical. It doesn't need to be like that's just for us. But like if that's like making a certain cookie and the reason why I do pumpkin muffins at Thanksgiving is because I don't make pumpkin muffins any other time of year. So like it's just that like one time that brings a feeling. And I think that that's really important to remember is you just want to be able to, you don't have to do anything. It's still going to be magical.
yeah.
Because the feeling that it brings, you know? And if we try to cover up that feeling with staying busy and doing all these things, I think that's when we really start to feel stressed and like it wasn't enjoyable because we didn't get to slow down and like experience it, you know?
Yeah. I think it's also realizing like what your family temperament is because all four of my boys have ADHD. My husband has ADHD. And so, like, having everybody, and in my family growing up, you sat around and everybody opened up one present at a time, and opening presents took like an hour. And so that was what I thought Christmas morning was supposed to be like. And if everybody didn't sit still and watch your brother open the present, like we were somehow not doing things right. But like that was agony. And we just ended up like yelling at the kids all morning. And my husband, like, he hates Christmas morning because he's like, he get really stressed out with like trying to make everybody do these things. So one year we did like progressive Christmas. And I'm like, if somebody sends us a present in the mail, we're opening it that day. And like you can just enjoy it during the month of December. And then
Yeah.
we had the boys shop for each other like I don't know, December 18th or something. And then we wrapped them and then they opened them that night. And then, like, on Christmas morning, I think they just opened like their stockings. We didn't even open any presents. We just had like cinnamon rolls and bacon. And I
Yeah.
really liked it. It was a lot more relaxing. But the kids said the next year they didn't like it. They wanted like the big Christmas morning. So then we went back to it. And I think we just let them like open up all the presents at once, and it was over
Yes.
in like 5 to 10 minutes, and it was less stress. So I think it's
Yeah.
just like trying different things and realizing that like everything is an option. There are no requirements. And if like this doesn't work for you, or it's making you crazy, or it's making your spouse crazy, and everybody's grumpy, that thing is not working for you.
Exactly. Exactly. Be true to you. Be true to you and your family.
Yes.
Be their advocate, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of too that other people think that you should do things like I think even our extended family sometimes get in there and say, well, this is what you should be doing on the holidays. This is how it should be going. This is, you know, and just being like, well, that doesn't work for me. I think you touched on that too when you said like going to like 6 different houses for like, you know, you go to grandma's on Christmas and then you go to, then if you have grandmas and great grandmas, and then you end up at 5 different places and you lost your day.
Yeah.
Being like setting the boundaries and knowing it doesn't work for your family or like that. I mean, that wouldn't work for my kids. Luckily, we don't have that situation. We only have to go to one house on Christmas Eve and one on Christmas Day. And so, but if I had to go to different houses, my kids, especially when they were younger, the amount of crab and exhaustion that never to me would have been worth it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think in my head, I always wanted to do things like I want to go to candlelight Christmas Eve service. But then I'm like, my kids and fire and like sitting through a dark service, that is never going to work. So we've never done that. Even though I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I really would like to go, but maybe like I should just go myself and they should stay home with my husband, you know, if that's something that's important to me. That like not everybody has to go for it to work, for it
Yes.
to be something
Yes.
special.
Or how you were talking about maybe having like that patience of waiting until they're a little bit older too. Like that can even apply to us who have older kids, but still not quite old enough to do
Yes, to
those
hold a
things
candle
that,
in church.
yeah, exactly. They're not there yet. Yeah. Yeah. But knowing that could be something to do in the future. Yes.
Yes. So I don't know. This is a great conversation. I hope that people will just listen and feel affirmed and like be able to choose joy and peace going into the holidays, whether they're going to Thanksgiving, they're going to Christmas, or even New Year's, and just say, wow, what is going to work for me? What is not going to work for me? And like choosing joy and choosing peace for their family. I just hope that moms can hear that.
And that they don't feel like you're not your motherhood status isn't defined by how much of holiday you do. You know, if it's right for you, then you're doing a great job.
Yes, 100%. All right, Sarah. Well, I let it end our time on these rapid fire questions, and they're different from last time. Some of them are the same. So I'm anxious to hear what your answers are. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Which Disney princess would you want to take out to coffee?
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel. Oh, she's been popular lately, but she's very fun. We should just have a big group coffee with Rapunzel because she would just fit right in.
Tangled version of Rapunzel.
Yes. Yes. Would you rather spend a weekend at the cabin in a cabin in the woods or in the city with great restaurants?
Oh gosh, Cabin in the Woods.
As the kids yell in the background, I understand. I understand.
I know. Yeah.
What is an ordinary moment that brings you great joy?
When we sit down together as a family and we just have dinner. Our dinner time routine is
Coffee or tea?
coffee.
Last show you binged and loved?
Oh God, there's been so many, but The Good Place is what comes to my head first.
I've been watching that with my teenagers and we really, really liked it. So it's good.
Yeah, good. And I just keep watching it over and over again. I'll be like, I should try this show. Nope, back to The Good Place.
Yep, that's your comfort zone. Go-to book, fiction or nonfiction?
Currently fiction. I was going through a nonfiction phase. I'm going to say fiction for now.
When you were 5 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was 5, I think I wanted to be a teacher.
What are you looking forward to?
Fall.
Oh, same. Yes, we're recording this in August where it is still blazing hot and super humid. So it is.
Can't wait. Yeah. Yes. And that cabin in the woods, I want it to be like in Vermont in October.
Yes. Hopefully, when this airs, it will be nice and cool and we will just be basking in like the gloriousness of fall.
Glory. Yes, for sure.
All right, last one. Finish the sentence. Motherhood is
hard. Hard.
It is hard.
To be.
I am with you 100% on that. It is hard. Yeah. Sarah, where can we find you online?
rebelhousewife.blog.com.
All right.
Basically it.
I will share that in our show notes. And I'm so thankful you came on and I love talking to you. I feel like we have so much in common and good ideas and just down to earth advice. So thank you for being on here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Motherhood Metamorphosis. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. Next, tell your friends. Podcasts are a slow growth type of social media, so promo works best when it's from person to person. If you know another mom who's in the goop right now, send her a text of encouragement and the link to the episode that is speaking to your heart right now. If you have a story about your own matrescence, the physical, emotional, hormonal, and social transition that occurs when someone becomes a mother, please leave a comment below. I want this channel to be a place where women can build community about the challenges and joys of their own motherhood metamorphosis. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope it encouraged you and gave you some good food for thought. If you ever have any questions, comments, or you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can email me at brittanyaming@gmail.com.
I was watching this show with my husband and they said that they do this. This is I may end up cutting this out because this is kind of a it's kind of a really funny story. They
Oh, me
said
too.
they played fart tennis at the Christmas table. They didn't ever pass a ball, but it was just like somebody farted at one end and then the other person farted at the other end, and you kept it going for like as long as possible.
God.
And that was their Christmas tradition.
Yeah, that is definitely thinking outside the box, I will say.
Oh, I was like, that's hilarious. And I could totally see that being something that would happen at my house.